target to get it done no later than February, but aspirationally to get it done sooner. And as far as I know, that's in good stead. PCDP has been offering to help outreach to those people who expressed interest in not only running for something, which they may or may not really understand what that entails, but just to volunteer and get involved generally. So I did want you to know that that's still in progress for those of you who've been asking. So, and then I actually tweaked this a little bit. Hold on one second, Shelley.
When did Contest Every Race send out their whatever they did to get these folks?
Yeah, that's
I remember
the end of November, December.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And most of many of us probably got a text.
Yeah.
And anyway, Shelley, is that your understanding as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it went out late November, early December from them, not us, but from.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then they were doing follow-ups, Larry, for people who took a nibble. I know that I took a nibble just to see what that experience was like, and they continued to ping me for probably another 4 weeks. Really chased me on it. So. Okay, that was all I had. Does anybody else have any questions? Looking for hands on that. And moving forward, got some other things to cover. So go for it, Shelley.
Okay. Hello. Yeah. Okay. So Beth is going to talk more about some timelines and deadlines for the PC election process. I'm just going to briefly say that at our headquarters, we're beginning to intake the 2 forms from various people that have dropped them off on their own. The petition signature with the 10 signatures needs to be a 1-pager, double-sided. I know that was kind of a communication thing. So, and we're happy to print that, help them fix that if they're having issues with that. So we will take the forms, the 2 forms from the LDs. We'll probably turn in batches of them, I'm assuming. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to go down, but we will take them periodically to elections and drop them off by hand.
And what's the drop dead date on those, Shelley? Do you have that up?
I think Beth's going to go over that in a minute. Yeah. Are there any questions about HQ and PC elections? I don't see any. So we have 2 interns, Hayden and Seat Lally, Lally for short. They're pretty great U of A students. They're both on some pretty exciting projects. Hayden is doing a machine learning project to try to understand more about PCs and redistricting. So that's pretty interesting. And Sidlali is doing a border project. So they're just getting off and running. So I give them a minute, and they'll also do tabling at U of A for the abortion access petition as well as voter registration. We had a press conference with the mayor downtown about the anniversary of the Supreme Court decision on Roe v. Wade. I have a picture of it coming up. We will include some how to become a delegate information in our newsletter, which will go out shortly. Most of you know that process, but we'll include it just again for people. We are continuing our Sentinel sustaining program, $15 a month, to used to flip the legislative district. So we're continuing that. Our Udall dinner is May 11th. Carol isn't here tonight. She's recovering from surgery, but we're on track and knocking out the tasks we need to for that. This is the invitation. We see it. Our Spirit Arizona Awards will go to Cecilia Valdez and Kathy Nichols from Arizona List. We will also be presenting a legacy award to Marjorie and George Cunningham. And we'll have a complimentary champagne toast. Okay, Udall goes. Any questions about Udall? Let's see any. Okay. This is a picture from the governor's address, address in Tucson that we attended. It was I think she gave a great speech. It was one of her best ones yet. She spoke honestly and frankly about the border, ESA vouchers, housing, affordability, water, sustainability, number of different issues. lot of, Arizona people were there. The Davis-Monthan Air Force Base did the color guard, and the Tucson High School choir did a really beautiful national anthem. So that was really nice. This is our press conference. It was downtown, got a lot of press came, so it was pretty successful. The mayor spoke about, again, Roe v. Wade, as well as some activists and doctors behind her spoke as well. Was Lance here? Lance was here.
Classic muting there. So, yes, hey everyone, I am here. Second Vice Chair Lance reporting for duty. Basically just have been coordinating with Evelyn Thrum, Jeannie Buell, Mary Darling of ADP, and the LD chairs. Should have seen an email. Just introduced myself, but having the idea of getting a rural summit put together to hear what is needed specifically in some of our more rural areas that are needing some flips in the legislature and some margins being cut down. So that is being put together. On that note, contacted my former colleagues who have worked with RAZA, Rural Arizona Action, on the Mark Fincham recall campaign a couple years ago, and also Organize Arizona from 2022, the midterms. So Samantha Cloud and Sue Dorfer are the organizing directors there now, and so seeing what projects they are up to at the moment. Likewise, for my former colleague Rodrigo Guerrero, he recently got campaign position with LD 17, and seeing what he needs to get, everything he needs to get WhatsApp out and make sure that that is a critical LD being focused on. So contacted him just on his personal contacts, email and cell phone, and seeing what he needs and how we can collaborate best. And also getting together a whole list of 501c4s and 501c5 nonprofits that can operate, that are operating and can operate with their nonprofit status under the C4 and C5 designations. So starting to get contact with them, see what is what they are doing to hit the ground here in 24. So that's what I have at the moment, and certainly kind of moving right along and trying to make things happen. And if there's no one on the idea of no youth council at the moment, that's something that I think will be on my agenda as well, is trying to help out and make that happen for the county party and for all the LDs. What's going on, Shelley?
Hey, so to that point, and to Larry Wagner's point before, we are not launching. We are currently trying to aggressively find out if the University of Arizona Democrats are active. They are not. They used to be very active. They've kind of the last year and even now are not active anymore. The University of Arizona Republican Club, very active. The University of Arizona Democratic Club lacks any person who will step up to lead it. It's kind of our opinion that organization, when I say our opinion, me and ops coordinator and the headquarters volunteers and the interns, it's our opinion that organization is actually more important to fix and get running than is our own, because it's a direct line to lots of motivated students. And I think the Pima County Democratic Party one is, obviously important as well, but that one traditionally we have done a lot of work with and has been really instrumental. And so it's really concerning that it's not active. So I'm just putting that on your radar, Lance. We are always we've asked all of our interns to be the president. We've asked former interns to be the president, and they just don't have it in their bandwidth, but just to put that on your radar.
Absolutely. And that was for U of A versus PCC it would be great if the Pima County Democratic Party had a young Democratic club or committee, but we really do get more out of the U of A's one.
in terms of recruitment for event, all kinds of stuff. Instead of like trying to recreate the wheel, which we should have one, but again, the one exists and they have a funding source and they have an official club status at the U of A, which allows us to use University of Arizona space. All kinds of things come with that. So it's real important that we try to get that one up and running.
Do you happen or anybody happen to have the contact information of the former president and past leadership?
I do. She's pretty unresponsive so far, but she was for a minute. It was Anastasia. I can't remember her last name, but I'll find it. We have it, and I'll give it to you.
Yeah, no, that certainly sounds like something that, I'll follow up on. Thanks.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of questions. Go ahead, Shannon.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say, can you hear me? I'm on a headset. Is this working?
Yeah.
Okay. From having, been at the university, worked there, and helped run clubs and advise clubs, absolutely 100% agree with you. And one thing I noticed from last time, since we're in LD20 and I worked closely with the university people last cycle, is that they Mission for Arizona recruited an enormous number of people for their club. And I had a conversation with the previous UA Dems club. She said they recruit so many people for their club and then the club dissolves because there's no Mission for Arizona. So, and that's what happened last time. There were tons of Mission for Arizona club members and still very few U of A Dem members last cycle, because I had a conversation with the outgoing president. And I'm just wondering if maybe this cycle we should try to make contacts with the Mission for Arizona group, if they are not Mission, it'll be whatever, the Biden group, if they come in and do the same thing with coordinated campaign, if we should try to reach out and get as many names as we can so that when they leave, we can try to continue a club on the off years.
So that's a really good point. Jumpstart is what it's called, I believe, in terms of the name of the coordinated presidential campaign. And they are on the ground in Phoenix, and I have requested their contact information from the Arizona Democratic Party. And so hopefully we can make contact and get them recruited to help us build that club at the U of A again. I totally agree. That's a good point, Shannon. Sorry, Lance, this is your slide if you want to take it from here.
I mean, that my end's pretty done. It's certainly always up for a brainstorm, but neither here nor there.
Could I throw in a comment?
Sure, Larry, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, Lance, we'll invite you to our next partnership summit, and I'll give you the list of folks who attended. I mean, it's a great overview of who's working in the area. It is certainly by no means everybody. You may have some folks that you think should be that are not there, and we'd welcome that information. The next thing is, Shelley, I can give you Sean McEnany's contact info. He's just been named the campaign manager for the new one, but he has got a deputy. But he thinks they're months out. But I'll give you the contact information.
Yeah, that'd be really great. That's the guy I want. That's the guy I've been looking for. Thank you.
Okay, I've got it.
I also have a comment and a question. Sure. The comment is that LD20 has been working with PCC, and there is an active Democratic Party organization there for young people. And so, along the lines of finding anyone you can under 70, who's interested in being a part of the Democratic Party. If you have time, there is somebody in at PCC who's pretty fired up about doing this work. So
that's a great point, Elizabeth. I'm sorry.
And then
Carlos is his name.
Go ahead.
Carlos is his name, and he's great. He's the first vice chair of the Santa Cruz Democratic Party. He's very young, great guy. Lance, I can give you his contact information as well. He runs the Democratic Club at Pima Community College.
And then a question, and this may not be the time to deal with this question, and so we can deal with it later if necessary. I do not understand our relationship with ADLCC, and I do not understand why I heard at the state meeting that they basically managed to knock two of our candidates in LD17 out of the race. I understand that that's probably a longer question than we want to deal with right now, but I do think that particularly while we're running a campaign where we're asking people to run for office, if there is some shadow organization that vets who gets to actually run for office, we should all know that. I'm about to start making phone calls to people, and frankly, I don't want to do it if there's an organization that can come in and say, sorry, the people on the ground think you're the candidate, but we don't, so you're out of here. So at some point, I would like clarification on that issue. Like I say, it doesn't have to be right now. And if my information's wrong, I'd be really happy to hear that. Thank you.
Bets, call me and I can square away some of that, and give you the relationship, and yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay.
And just if I can add on to that, Larry, I appreciate that. There's been an acknowledgement that there needs to be what I'll call sort of a closer understanding and education of some of those processes, and they've committed. I've heard commitment that they're, especially from Rodrigo, who was alluded to earlier, who's new to the organization but not to us, to help make that more understandable. So yeah, there's commitment in that space. I appreciate that question.
Eric, if there's time at the end of this, maybe we ought to throw it out now when you got 24 people on, that are interested. But it's your call. But
absolutely, yeah, we can take a few minutes if people want to. That's a great idea, Larry. Yeah. All right. Lance, anything else on your slide?
Well, Larry Bodine has an issue.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Larry.
You're muted, Larry. It's shocking, but you're muted.
Okay. Moving on. Okay.
Beth still has her hand up.
Oh, Beth, do you have your hand?
Sorry. No,
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay. Thanks. Brian, are you muted or?
No, I'm not muted. I was just waiting for somebody to say something and
Oh,
nobody.
I'm sorry. No, the floor is yours, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Balance sheet for January 31st of 2024 is up on your screen. We look very cash flush. A big portion of that is the money from the sale of the building, which we now have an agreement in place with our landlord. We will basically take a $1,500 a month deduction on our rent for the next 13 months now. We've taken one. We've got 13 more to go, and that will get us back the $21,071 that we spent for the renovation of the building that the landlord is supposed to pay us for as part of the lease agreement. So that $145,805.31 that you see for the Pima County Democratic Party will get closer to that $171,515.57 over the next year. We're not where I would like to be cash-wise, taking the building money away from that. We're nowhere near where we were last year at $99,598.27. However, we did not have a major fundraiser in 2023. Udall dinner should help make up for a significant portion of that. That's it as far as the finances are concerned. Nothing real exciting or critical going on right now. Shelley, next slide.
Oh, sorry.
There's my contact information for the LD treasurers. I strongly suggest that you have somebody on your account, both for ActBlue and for Beacon. If that's somebody that's another member of your LD, that's great. I would like to know who that person is, just in case something happens. Also, you can put treasurer at pmadems.org on either one or both of those. I don't poke around in there unless somebody wants me to, but it's nice to have a backup if things start going south and you don't know what's going on. About 3:00 this afternoon, I got a wonderful email from ActBlue. They are now going to start doing direct deposits for political parties, which means no more ActBlue checks to look for down at Pima. PCDP headquarters.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's made its way down to the LDs yet or not, or the PACs. But prior to this, the only organizations that could do direct deposit were candidates. So the opportunity is out there. If you haven't received an email yet and you're an LD treasurer, look for it. Strongly urge you to do that. It just makes things a lot easier.
So
That's
the
all I've
changes,
got, unless somebody's got questions.
Martin Clocky's got his hand up.
yeah. So the changes, the ACLU is now allowing LD sit. Okay, all right, got that.
I think they are. They're rolling this out in phases, Martin, and I don't know whether it's gone down to the LD treasurers yet or not. But if it hasn't gotten there yet, it should in the next several weeks.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Oh, this means that I'm up.
Mhm.
I'm going to start with the Equity Committee. This is an image from a meeting we had this week on Sunday with Kim Curry and Marcelina Flores co-sponsored, and our speaker, Judith McDaniel, spoke about the concept intersectionality and how that interfaces with hegemony and our personal identities. And some of you that are on today were there, so thank you for coming. I would ask that if any of you have heard from attendees that they want to ask Judith to come to a future LD meeting, as many people said that they were going to do, Judith has agreed to do a train the trainer. Either she or I will do the training, and then you can go to your LDs. And so it's a good way of really understanding the material as best as we can. The second thing is I'm going on the record with our next event that should also be a Beth, Kim, and Marcelino collaboration, and hopefully other members of our team will join, of our committee, is to develop a panel presentation about missing and murdered Indigenous women. And Marcelino is now the liaison from I think the county to the tribes. And he's working with people at the U of A to put on a summit. And we may see if we can be a part of that summit or not. We're not sure. Are there any questions about PCDP Equity Committee before I talk about PC elections? And I want to thank Eric for putting in a good plug there. I thought it was a really great event.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have the next slide?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. And I want to talk a little bit about the PC elections just to get everybody, just to remind you all. And I'm glad that that I'm here to talk about it. But there's a good division of labor here, and I want to make sure that you all know the critical role that Shelley has played, not only in getting this material out, but in also organizing at PCDP. We had some emails going on between the LD chairs or their designees, and there was voiced a concern about people bringing materials directly to PCDP. And I think there was someone who handled it really, really well, Shelley. And the response to us was, this PCDP office is working so well that this is a high functioning office. Yes, so I think that needs to be on the table because we have a high functioning executive director. So
sometimes.
this is say most of the time. This is a summary of what you've all heard at the January 6th meeting. I know lots of meetings I haven't been able to make, but I'm glad to be able to be at meetings again. And this this just lays out the documents that are necessary and the fact that you should have all received, if you're an LD chair, copies of lists of voters that people can go to in their precincts. I want to make sure that that's something that people really know about. I was hearing some conflicting things about that. And then the timetable, as Shelley said, now until the end of January is when we can collect signatures. And we're hoping that the LD chairs and their designees follow up if they don't have copies or they don't have the originals from the PCs or the newly to be elected PCs, that they expect to please follow up. And I will say that people are bringing to Shelley, and I've heard people say, oh, I brought it to Shelley. What we have to make sure, and Shelley and I will talk about this, is how to get back the information to the LDs about who's brought to headquarters, because we want to make sure that this is all running well and that everything has been proofed before we send it to elections. Then we have the time period. So remember, March 29th is really important. And then the hand delivery to elections. And I think Shelley and I are in touch with elections pretty frequently, and they answer all of our questions. So if we don't know something, we contact the folks there.
Beth, they've learned that you just won't go away, so.
There you go. Brian, your hand's up.
Yeah, just a quick pitch for the male gender. For those of you that were or were not at the state convention meeting a couple weeks ago, the reason we did, and it's quite possible I was the only one that didn't understand what was going on, but then again, maybe there were more people than just me. But the reason we did what we did with the state convention to elect delegates to the Democratic National Committee is, you know, that the Democratic Party is real big on gender equity. And one of the problems that Arizona has is that the female state committee members outnumber the male state committee members almost 2 to 1.
Right.
So they were trying to come up with a way to make the people voting for DNC delegates a little bit more gender equitable. Don't know that they accomplished that, but please encourage your male friends not only to become elected PCs, but to run for state committee member when that happens during the reorg for the LDs next December. Thank you.
I think Bets, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I may have asked this in the last meeting. I am fundamentally out of the loop after being in Mexico for a month. Do currently elected PCs need to go through this process?
Yes.
Everyone
Everyone
needs to go
does.
through it.
Everyone.
This is a re-election. So this is
Okay.
the way you become an elected PC.
Okay. All right. I will start elbowing the people who are telling me they don't want to be PCs anymore, that's just too bad. And
Yes.
they need to be PCs. Okay.
Thank you. Please. Everyone do that, please. Monica?
Question about the March 29th to April 6th. Is that for the write-in form or just the the regular nominating paper form?
That's so that PCDP has time to get everything proofed and make sure that it's all ready to be brought over to elections. Shelley?
I think that I'm not sure if the what's the word I'm looking for? Write-in form or write-in thing. It has a different timeline. I don't think so.
Yeah, it does. The deadline's April 20th, I think.
Okay.
According to Lori Cinnamon, it's April 22nd. So thank you, Lori, for putting that information in.
Somebody's there.
So if somebody doesn't go through the forms we sent out and the getting the 10 signatures, they can do the write-in up until a certain date, right? Correct?
Correct. And I would, use that date there, I think. If I'm not mistaken, right, Beth? March
Yes.
29th? Okay. Through April 6th. No?
No, I think Lori put in the write-ins are through
sorry.
April 22nd.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
I think somebody had their hand up.
Monica? Larry?
Larry, there.
Yeah, Beth, so someone who gets appointed in the last 2 months could then go as a write-in and become an elected PC for the 24-26 period. Right.
I believe that is correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
They could even, if I'm not mistaken, probably somebody will correct me here, get their 10 signatures. And if they want to do it that way or be a write-in, either way, write-in's easier.
Thank you.
So I have a question for all of our LD chairs. When you're giving reports, I wish you'd let us all know if you have any updates about how this is going, the recruitment of new PCs in your LDs. Monica?
One last question. When is your deadline for accepting PC applications that will terminate September 30th of this year?
So it's on the bottom there, and that's suggested
April 31st.
Yep, in order to get it all processed.
April 31st?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Brian?
Has to be April 30th. There is no April 31st.
Oh, okay.
We are so good at correcting one another. Thank you, Brian.
I guess 30th.
Okay, Monica, is this your last question and then we can move on?
Get my hand down.
Okay, I think someone else is up next.
All right.
Thanks, Beth. Gretchen, did you have anything you need to present this evening?
No report.
All right, and I think we talked about Carol, but Martin's here. Can you do a heads up on 16 for us, sir?
Oh, yeah. So you've probably heard that we're selling Madonna tickets and the drawing is on February 27th. I don't know how many tickets are left, but they were going pretty fast the last I heard.
Yeah, it's a steal. It's $25, and if you win, you get 2 Madonna tickets that are worth like $800. I think that's a good deal.
Correct. Yeah. Okay, we have a mini grant coming up, and we're planning tabling events March 5th at the Robeson Ranch tentatively, and then maybe a couple of more on the Native American communities. And then we have some other things to do in order to get this grant for LD16, which our ever wonderful Carol Slough got for us. We're also thinking about having a yard sale at Robbins in Arizona City in March or April. A yard sale. We'll bring all our junk in and then have a petition signing then. Oh, yeah. We're talking about doing petition parties and kind of myself and my cohort here at Coppercrest started doing this to keep us from having to walk all over the place, go door to door. And we're Vivian Hart is putting together like packets or what they call petition parties in a box where they can send them around. I guess they've gone to Lance Usery, and he's going to send them out to back to the LD chairs. Shantae Rothschild, one of our wonderful cohorts, is running for school board in her neck of the woods, which is way up north, like Avondale, I think.
Okay.
And Murdoch, huh?
Nothing. I just
Oh,
go ahead.
Yeah, yay.
Yep.
And Murdoch Holloway has declared this is volunteer recruiting time, and we should get out and recruit volunteers, which we're doing.
Lori, I think Lori has a question.
Yeah, hi. Hey, Martin. Is
Yeah.
anyone other than Keith running for the legislature?
No, we don't have anybody else. And we're doing everything to get him reelected.
Mm-hmm. All right, Larry Wagner.
Appreciate that. And then I'll always pile on that push for volunteers. That CER list is a good field for that. Hopefully that's grist for the mill.
All right,
Mr. Wagner.
Okay, sir, thank you. We're continuing to work on the AAA petitions. Remember, that's a priority for us because it's going to help us identify favorable voters when we start our Get Out the Vote and our persuasion campaigns. We are now working with Rodrigo, who is the ADLCC. He's basically the campaign manager, but they can't call him a campaign manager nowadays. So he is the district manager. We're launching candidate canvases with him on a regular basis. We've had several meetings with ADLCC and donors to sort of, do some battle damage assessment from the withdrawal of our candidate. I have talked a couple of times to Jane Fry. For those of you that don't know, her dad died a couple of days ago, and clearly that probably had something to do with her decision. So we've talked to ADLCC and we've talked to the donors. I think we've got a good understanding of how the system works. I think we've got a good road ahead. Now we just want to say, we want in the room, this is what we know. These are the facts that we know, and it's time for us to go and, win this district for 2 more seats and try to control the state legislature.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to be doing. Beth, next time I'll have an update for you on where we are with respect to the PC apps. I just don't have it now, but we'll get it for you. Okay. All right. That's it for LD 17.
Appreciate it, sir. Appreciate you finding
I
a good
just
site.
wanted to point out that we're doing actual canvassing
Mm-hmm.
to get signatures, door-to-door canvassing, using turfs, and that we're also dropping lit for our other candidates and stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marion. And I forgot to call on the other EC rep we have, but I think Tim Cossey is here as well. Thanks,
Mhm.
Marion.
Not really. There's a lot of people going out in their neighborhood. Larry knocked doors in his neighborhood. So yeah, a lot of other efforts,
Mm-hmm.
and people are participating in the wonderful Snapchat that Shelley put together at PCDP. That's just amazing community building and information sharing tool. So yeah, lots of stuff going on there about AAA. I do have something to add about something else. So Larry, continue.
Yeah, she's great. That's awesome, Larry. She's pretty great.
Larry, are you done? Okay. Yeah, Rachel Bittercoffer is amazing. She spoke at DGT, I think in 2022, changed my life. One other thing about, want to report about LD18, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because maybe some of the other LDs want to consider doing this. LD18 got over 300 CER people, respondents, and it is, you know, a blessing and a curse because 300 personal phone calls takes a long time. So I talked to our PC coordinator, Diane Coscarelli, and I shared with her what Allison Jones did in 2020, because at that time, I guess there were a lot less than, I don't know how many countywide, there might have been 600 or 700. I don't know how many Allison got, but what Allison did was she had a meeting at PCDP and invited people to come to the meeting. And I was there, me and another person were helping on that. And we got people to sign up, become PCs there. Obviously, we can't do that now because CER has been so effective in getting people. But what LD18 is doing is we are going to follow up with these people via text, because that's all we have. We don't have their emails. We do have phone numbers. And we're going to invite them to a meeting. And that way we can get, 50, 60, 70 people in one room. And it's more efficient use of time. So I'm just sharing that with the other LDs as ideas on how to deal with that blessing, I guess.
That's a good idea.
Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, a question for Lori. They use the JP precincts for that. Is there an easy way to run those van ID numbers through van and get lists by precincts?
Absolutely. I can send that to you tonight because the activist code is marked in the van. Anybody can do create a list using those activist codes and then sort them by precinct. So I'm happy to send it to you after this meeting. It takes a few minutes.
Actually, yeah, I'll have Andy do that, but thank you, because I just didn't know if it was possible, and you've just explained that it is. So I'll have Andy Flock do that, and he can do it as well. Thank you very much, Lori.
Okay, appreciate you. Mr. Bodine, you all set? You're good. Okay, appreciate you. All right, and I didn't see Mr. Boyd in the room. Did I miss him?
No, I think he's not here.
Okay, is there anybody else from 19 that's got a report for us tonight?
Yeah, Matt called me and asked if I would give the report.
You're amazing. Go ahead.
19 is very busy. We're doing get out the vote everywhere. We're doing petition signing. I'm doing, let's see, my third one in Quail Creek. Green Valley Democrats did one. Graham and Greenlee had the Leap Palooza February 29th in Safford, and a lot of us are going up there and supporting it. We have our 3 candidates. I think we're close to all of them getting their signatures to get on the ballot. But I think, LD19's up there and active.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Jeannie. Ms. Stalk, Marcy, go ahead and jump in for us here while Leslie.
Okay. Well, I have been gone most of January, so Mike Weingarten.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Speakers to phone.
Okay. Mike has been our contact person. He is our PC person. So Beth, I will get that info from you. Mike and I have a meeting tomorrow morning. He's on the East Coast right now. We don't seem to ever be in the same city at the same time, no less same time zone. So I will get that info, but I know that he has sent out all of that information to our PC. So we're actively working on that. We also have our CER numbers. It's 193 for Pima County. We're also working with Cochise and Santa Cruz, and they are working on their portions of it. So both those two counties have their part under control with the chairs in both Cochise and Santa Cruz. And like everyone else, we're doing a lot of petitioning, going out canvassing with that. We have someone who has set up a site in Green Valley. So if folks want a specific place that they can go in Green Valley to sign, she's got that available. And then we will be having elections. I've been interim for a long time, and there has been no first vice chair. Mike Weingarten has been appointed first vice chair, and then we're going to have elections next month. So I'll be running for chair for the permanent, and Mike will be running for first vice chair. I don't know if any other candidates are available. I would gladly entertain them. So that is.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for all you do to everybody here, but to you is at the moment. I appreciate you, Marcy.
Thank you.
Can you hear me, Eric?
Yep. We can hear you now.
Yep.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, this has been a trial because whatever is wrong with my computer does not allow me to speak. All right. Basically, in LD20, a couple of things. We are making our CER calls, and it's we've got about maybe 2/3 of the people have either been called or are being called. And that's out of about 300. So a couple hundred people we are certainly getting through to or not. Obviously, everybody's under the gun. And Lori, I appreciate your idea about trying to get these people together. And we have done some talking about that. One thing I do want to say is we are doing a lot of tabling. We have probably 20 different tabling events set up for February. And to give you an example, one individual has done about 110 abortion petitions on her own. And that's quite a few, if you think about it. But we are probably getting at each tabling event, so to speak, somewhere between 6 and 8 petitions, not all abortion petitions. There are other petitions as well, as I'm sure you all know. And so we're kind of doing a lot of that. And we're obviously talking about PCs, and I know that we're going to be, we've got a canvas that's set up for February 17th, and we will be at the Peace Fair on the 24th of this month. So that's kind of what we're doing. And
staying busy.
More later. Yeah.
What's up, Marion? Sorry, Marion had a question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Leslie, where all are you doing these tabling events?
Oh God, every Saturday, lots of places, several libraries, in LD20. We're also doing something at Antigone's almost every Saturday. And that'll continue pretty much throughout the year, or, as time goes on. Also at American Eats. And we are also doing tables at PCC, Pima County College, at the 3 outlets, 3 schools that are in the LD. So that's pretty much covered what we're doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good. Appreciate you folks. And Anna Karina has, for those of you who have not heard, has resigned. So LD23 is with that leadership.
Oh, sorry.
at the moment as far as a chair, so we are currently very eager to find somebody who might fill that role. There's also talk, because that's one of the other LDs that bridges county lines. So we're trying to see if there's some possibility of some cross-county coordination there. Want to support that LD as much as possible. And it might be reaching out as we go forward here. We've talked a little bit about the buddy system or LD expertise, mentorship. And I think in that case, we're going to need some of that specifically. So please keep an eye out for that as we move forward. If you have thoughts of anybody who might be interested in serving, we would be glad to take that out for lunch.
Lori has.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't get my hand up quick enough, like the buzzer on Jeopardy. But this is regarding what Marion's question about tabling. I want to put a plug in for the PCDP petition and tabling map on, is it Snapchat?
WhatsApp.
What's it called? WhatsApp. It is amazing. It is a model of organization. There are 85 people on it today, Marion.
Yep.
Get on there. I'll share the link with you. That's the easiest way, is to see what's going on all over town. They advertise events outside of town, Tubac, blah, 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 Bisbee. It is just wonderful for organization.
Thanks, Lori. Big, Emmy has a lot to do with it too. But yeah, like Lori said, it's a good way to figure out what's covered and what's not. Some people have some great ideas about where to get petitions and how to, where to circulate petitions, how to get signatures, just tips and tricks and best practices and all kinds of stuff. So thanks.
And if I can just sort of put another note on this too, from where I'm sitting, I get a lot of feedback on messaging, as you can imagine, and there's an overwhelming social media push, the troll farms and the naysayers out there. Y'all see this. If you open your eyes to that kind of stuff, it looks like there's this huge wave of MAGA, energy. And yet that pales in comparison to what's happening with the reality of the AAA activity that's going on, the kind of actual work on the ground that people like you folks are actually doing. It's not troll farms. It's not people on their asses on couches working their thumbs out, being nasty online. It's doing the work. And Dems Deliver has been my favorite counter to almost anything lately. Just look at the work that's getting done. So thank you all so much for that. It's truly inspirational every time I look around. I can't help but be struck that I walk among heroes all the time. So, okay, let's go ahead and roll on. Appreciate you.
Wait, Beth has a question.
Oh, Beth's good. Sorry.
Yes, I do. I always do. I need clarification once again on PCs, and because we're almost in primary season, I need clarification on primaries. I know that the party is not allowed to endorse one person over another. Does that mean, for instance, first of all, are school board races considered to be similar to primaries? Because there are many, many more candidates than seats, usually.
I'm going to jump in here, Eric. I would say yes. The school board races are not partisan, but I believe, and people can probably correct me if I'm wrong, the county party doesn't really say much about school races until after the primary.
Okay, well, there's not a primary. There's just an election.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so that's good to know. So my understanding is, if I as a PC go out and I want to work, say, the treasurer's election, I can't just take my candidate. If I'm wearing I represent the Democratic Party, I can't just take my favorite candidate. I have to take the signature sheets for all of the candidates for the primary for treasurer.
Brian, you know better. Go ahead.
Yeah, Betsy, if you want to canvass and gather signatures for your favorite candidate, you can do that. You just can't do that as a representative of the Pima
Okay.
County Democratic Party. You have
Okay.
to do that as Betts Putnam Hidalgo.
Right. Okay. That is my understanding. I just wanted to make sure. So for tabling, same deal, right? If we're tabling as the Democratic Party, if we have one school board candidate, we got to have all of them that are Democrats. Or we've got to have all of the people who are running for treasurer if they're Democrats.
Well, okay, let's take that as two different issues. If you're tabling representing the Democratic Party,
Right.
that's a true statement.
Okay.
If you're tabling just because you're Beth
No, I
Putnam,
got that. Yeah.
okay. Stay away from school board candidates as the party because they are nonpartisan candidates. You're treading on slippery slope doing anything representing the Democratic Party with school board candidates because it is a nonpartisan election. And the same would be true for any other nonpartisan election.
Okay. Is that a hard and fast rule or is that just your recommendation?
Again, if you want to do it as
Right.
you can do whatever you want to do. Just do not do it as a representative of the political party.
For nonpartisan races.
Particularly for nonpartisan races.
And Brian, does that trickle down to LD activities or is that PCDP identified only?
That's any party activity.
Yeah, that's LD as well.
Right. Okay. So that's another question that I have. So we've got a zillion Democrats who are running for some of the open seats locally. If you as an LD do not have time, I mean, how do the LDs handle that? Do you ask primary candidates to come in and give like a 10-minute blurb and, to introduce themselves, et cetera, because that way you can actually cover every person who's running for the treasurer board, for example, or because if you start giving away your whole, this is our speaker for the week, you see what I'm saying? You run out of time to get, if there's an active, but I'm thinking of the race that Jen Allen is in. I don't know how many people are running for that race at this time, but initially there were, so 4. So you would either have to give up 4 weeks if you gave everybody an hour to speak, or do people just generally say, okay, 10 minutes for you and that'll do it?
Let me comment on what LD9/LD18 used to do. Understanding the fact that we're in an election year that's a very significant election year, don't worry about educating anybody for an hour. This is candidate time. And if your whole meeting, every meeting from now until November is dedicated to candidates, I could see no further or no greater educational opportunity than that as far as political activity is concerned.
Okay.
But invite them all. Yeah. And you'll find out who's serious by who actually comes and takes advantage of the opportunity that you've given them.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Okay. Thanks for that guidance.
Any other chairs want to weigh in on that suggestion or recommendation while Betts is asking the question?